This video is dedicated to all of the Pisces men out there who have a Mercury in Aquarius, and no shade if you don't. But the topic of my video is this amazing, mind-blowing interview that Joe Rogan did with Terrence Howard, who is a Pisces sun, a Sag moon like myself, a Mercury in Aquarius like myself, a Mars Sagittarius like myself, a Venus in Aries like myself. And so that is why I was so like glued to this interview, because I felt like, am I listening to myself whenever I talk, whenever I think about things? Now, of course, it isn't at the complexity of the way that he was, talking about the things that he understands, the patterns and concepts that he understands, and just what he knows about life or his own life and outside of this world. But when you have Aquarius energy, things can get a little weird and people can look at you like, what are you talking about? And that is what I want to focus on too, because one, I took down a lot of notes. It was a 3 hour long interview. So it's not, in order, because I was just writing notes and then I thought about something later and then I wrote it down. But I wanted to break this down because of a few things. One, because the tweets that I was seeing after this interview came out were making me very angry. The Scorpio in me wanted revenge on people who don't understand that you can be multi-talented. You can have a gift of acting and have a gift of science. You can have a gift of math. You can have a gift of whatever. Two things can exist at one time. So let's start there. But I wanted to also help people understand what it's like to have certain alignments and why certain people, not all people, have the gift of ancient knowledge and have the ability to go back in time and remember things that a lot of people don't. It is possible, we live on this very surface level society where people don't understand that there are people who are gifted with things beyond the way that our minds can perceive it. Yesterday, I was watching a video of this lady who they say has not eaten in like 10 years. I don't even know, maybe even more than 10 years. She doesn't go to the bathroom. She's like some wild phenomenon, but there's just so much that exists out there that could be a possibility, and look that up later. But I thought that was crazy, and I didn't not believe her because I believe that anything is possible in this reality. So again, I took a few notes. I wanted to start with, though, like I said, whenever people were discrediting Terrence for having this gift of whatever, however people perceive it, esoteric knowledge, science, math, whatever, and then also having a background in acting. But he does have a gift of acting. He landed some major roles. And, he has a gift of being able to transform his character into something else. And then also, again, having a gift of science, having a gift of math, having a gift of understanding things that are beyond this world. It is possible that people can do that. So that's something that I saw on Twitter. People were trying to discredit him. It was coming from a specific group of people, men in particular, who were trying to say that, oh, he's having a manic episode, he's schizophrenic, whatever. And people are like, no, like there are people who understand this at a deeper level. Like, why is that so hard to understand? So, as somebody who, and I'm going to constantly revert back to myself so you can see what a lot of things look like in real life. I mean, he is real life as well, and that interview was real life. But the everyday person, if somebody who shares my birthday, we have the gift, but also it is kind of like works against us of being really good at a lot of things. And it can work against you because, like I said, you could have a hard time understanding what you really want to do in life. It can work against you with trying to find a job because you have to prove to people like I'm worthy of this position. And then you're like, but you used to do this, and you also used to do that. You also used to do this, and you also used to do this. And so it's it has worked against me. Not gonna lie. But now with astrology, I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, discrediting him because he's an actor, discrediting him because, there's no way that people can know two different things and have this, amazing brain. Like Joe said, if you weren't an actor and you were just some ordinary guy with these findings, people would be like, oh my gosh, this is so revolutionary. But because he has a character or a background of playing certain people, then that's how people perceive you. It's kind of weird how, we perceive actors, especially if they play certain roles. You kind of like latch on to that role that they played and they're like, that's how you are. But anyways, I digress. And so yeah, so that I think that's crazy, you know, as people who become teachers. Like I said, a public school teacher, people are amazed whenever teachers do anything outside of public school. So again, that's something that I'm like, I want to get people's minds away from. It is possible for people to know how to do two different things at the same time. Okay. Also, he stated that he knew a lot of information before he was born, as in before he came out into this earth, this world, that information was given to him that he remembers, you know, even before coming over here. Like I have had clients when I do my readings, they're very apprehensive about even telling me this. They're like, I don't know if this sounds weird, but and it's not weird. I've had multiple clients tell me that they remember their past lives. People who I've just interacted with telling me that they remember their past lives. They remember, y'all, let me tell you. I had an event a couple weeks back. Well, I don't even know what today is. I just get so lost in what today is. But I had an event a couple weeks back, and um, the employee of the store, when I first met her, and I mentioned this on some of my other videos, that we have a birthday that's a day apart, which that was kind of crazy. We're also born at the same minute mark, which was crazy, but she's 10 years younger than me. And she just stopped when we were talking mid conversation and she was like, I remember this from my past life. And every time we had an interaction, she would tell me something that she knew what was going to happen. She told me about my own event of what she saw happening, which it did actually come to fruition. And so again, people have that gift and have that ability. I know it's kind of mind-blowing to understand or wrap your head around, but it is true. That's just something that people have, the ability to remember something that far back. And we're coming into this age now where people are becoming more comfortable in saying this, because I do believe that there was a time that existed where everything was very advanced. People were getting information from some other entity, some other energy. And that's why we have these structures and things in this world where it's hard to wrap our head around, how was this made? How was this designed? How was this crafted if we didn't have these tools or whatever? But we did. We did. We're just now remembering, and I believe we're going now back to that. How long it would take to get back to the times of the pyramids and things like that, who knows? I don't know. I don't know, but I would love to be a part of it. I'll just say that. Also, let's see. Yeah, he mentioned too that a lot of people discredited his work, or they discredited the work of somebody else who he kind of was either studying or whatever. Don't quote me on it. But you know, because it's rooted in more philosophy and not facts or not on paper, that it can't be true, that people can't just know things just to know them. And that is another thing too. I'm sure some of you, when you were in school, you were told, show your work. How did you get that answer? How did you get the answer to your math problem? Some people can just do it in their head. You know, you don't have to write it all down and draw it all out. You just know you can do it in your mind. So that's another thing too that people need to learn, that you don't have to have facts on a website somewhere about every single thing. It's just everything can be observation. You can just look at something and know. You can see a pattern recognition. So that's one thing that I really try not to go back and forth with people on, even though, again, the Scorpio in me is like, "Ugh." People always want some kind of statistic. Where did you see that? Where did you prove that? And then what makes those people who put these on a website, what makes them the truth? You know, I get it so much. Well, astrology isn't, where is the science behind it? How about me talking to 100 different people who share the same placement and have the exact same storyline? It's not on a website somewhere, but pattern recognition can show you that it might be true. It might be true if you see it enough times, okay? So again, everything does not need to be rooted in fact or on some kind of website, which again, who makes that person the truth of all truths? You know, whoever wrote that down. There also was a mention of us either moving away from the sun or going closer to the sun. Now, there is climate change. There's all this, you know, it's getting hotter here. It's getting colder over here. There's snow in June. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on as far as what is going on in our climate. But again, the concept of our Earth was birthed from the sun would indicate that maybe we're moving away from the sun. Because if you look at the solar system and you see that Pluto is the furthest planet, the coldest planet, maybe it was at the beginning of the solar system. If you look at the map or what they show us in like school and science, and that would indicate that we keep on moving back, or the other way around too, which is why I feel like maybe they're trying to explore Mars and maybe that'll be the next habitable planet. I don't know. But again, another theory, maybe. He said something along the lines of, the only thing that we can see is things going in or things going out, just like our breathing. Either we're breathing in or breathing out. There's no other way to do that. Same thing with like magnetism. Either something is being magnetized and brought together or it's repelling and it's going apart. There's no other way around it. So either again, we're going into the sun, further into the sun, or we are going further away from the sun, which would explain a lot of these weird videos that I've been seeing about the sun. I saw something about like, sunflowers weren't even facing the sun anymore. But again, there's so much information out there. There's so many community notes and things on Twitter that it's kind of hard for me to believe anything that's being fact checked now just because we've been lied to so much. So who knows? Everything is left to interpretation, everything is theory to me. But also, um what did I write down? I said people telling you that you're wrong, but who makes somebody the the person of truth, how can somebody look at him and say you're wrong for believing that earth came from the sun? How do you know this? How do you know this? How do you know this? Were you there when earth came out of the sun? Were you there when earth was created separate from the sun? Like everything is theory and everything is just us assuming, but I would believe somebody more if they said that it came from before they were born, that they were downloaded this knowledge. At this point, I believe those people even more because now that I really understand the concept of dreams, that's one thing. Let me go off on a tangent really quick. Dreams. I made a TikTok the other day and I said, if you can understand the concept of dreams and how they make you feel, even bad dreams, why and what is the difference between that energy and the energy of things like astrology? If you can feel when you go to sleep, you get a message, you talk to the dead, you talk to someone who you haven't spoken to, there's weird things going on in your dream, you're riding on the back of a tiger in the clouds, there's just weirdness going on there. Or when you wake up, people who have experienced sleep paralysis, people who have experienced, like I said, nightmares, you wake up, you feel you're sweating, whatever, there's some energy that is affecting you, that when you wake up your behavior changes. You can be really sad, you can be angry, you can be happy, maybe you got a really good dream. Something outside of you is affecting you and your behavior. So when it comes to astrology and we say it's because of your Aquarius sun, I don't know. There's a certain energy that gives you the behavior that you have. We all know this. We all see it. We all understand. If you're watching this video, you have some knowledge or concept of astrology that you know that there's a certain energy that affects your behavior. And if you look at enough patterns, if you look at enough people with the same placement in the same area with the same degree, you'll see it is repeating. There's an energy that is affecting, again, your behavior. There's an energy outside of you that affects your dreams. No one can explain it. You can try to, we can come up with all these theories or whatever, but there's no person that can really say this is true. So what makes you, every ordinary person, the person who can tell somebody they're not right? I see it all the time in my comments all the time. Who are you? Who are you to tell me? Also, the patents that he has, I don't even know how many patents, but he said that there are companies who have taken his patents, taken his ideas and made a lot of money on it. I want to say he said $7 trillion, and he hasn't seen a dime off of it. And that's another thing too, with people stealing your ideas, and stealing concepts. Now, I do believe that multiple people can be given the same idea at the same time, and it is our awareness that we need to have to act on that thing. Because I have seen a lot of times when I'll open up my phone and with people who I know who will see something online and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I had that idea. I thought about that," and they can say like they stole my idea, but really in reality, a lot of us are given the same idea because how is one person now, I do believe like people like Steve Jobs, where Apple iPhone, that's taken over the globe. But was someone else also given that idea, but didn't act upon it? So again, globally, there's a lot of people in this world. There are things that have happened here in America that people on the other side will never know about. So that is why I feel like multiple people are given the same download in different areas of the world because one person I do not believe can reach everyone globally. Although we'd like to think that. We'd like to think that everyone knows who Gandhi is. Everybody knows who Martin Luther King is. Everyone knows who everybody doesn't know. There's plenty of videos of I don't know if y'all seen the video of J-Lo, and she gets so much hate, but J-Lo was walking down the street in New York and she goes up to her old home and she's like, "Oh, I used to live here." And he's like, "Who are you?" Now, mind you, again, she's an international superstar. And this guy's like, I don't know, some older man. He's like, "I don't know who you are." So the idea that only one person is given an idea, I do not believe that. But I do believe that people steal ideas that were not their own and try to capitalize off of it. Okay, another thing. He mentioned the fact that, and it has nothing to do with kind of what he was talking about, but it made me think about this. So he was talking about Mercury and how if you look at a solar system or the map of what they show us, like the sun, and then they're all in order, Mercury is only one sign away. And that's how you can determine somebody's Mercury sign is it's only going to be their sun sign, one sign before or one sign after. The same thing with the solar system. You can see the sun and then you'll see Mercury, and it's only one sign away, which would indicate to me is that we are the sun, we are the center, and that's kind of how you can see somebody's Mercury sign. Again, one sign away, one sign before, one sign after. Same thing with Venus. It's the second planet, which would be you can only have your Venus sign be two signs away, two signs before, two signs after. Same thing, like I said, going when you look at astrology, you look at the solar system, you look at the planets, you start to put everything together. And I was like, hold on. That is true because in astrology, it can only be one sign away. When you look at the solar system, it's one planet away from the sun. And so that was very interesting finding to me. My mind is going a million miles a minute right now. But anyways, next thing. Um, oh, I want to say, and again, don't quote me on this because I'm just going off of memory, but I want to say that he said that there is a certain energy that is out there that can sync all of our thoughts together, which I do believe that because, when you watch the movie The Eternals, I want to say they held hands and they were forming what's called a unimind. But when we were younger, we did not have social media. We did not have, the ability to be able to send a message and it goes spread to the masses. We had television, we had radio. But a lot of us shared the same childhood experience separate from what they showed us on TV. There are little things. There are little things of, people stabbing erasers with your pencil. Like, why did we all do that as kids? Why did we all put a ruler on our pencil and spin it around? That's not something that I believe was shown on television all the time. And so this idea that there is an energy out there that can sync us all up, and that is syncing us all up, which is what I believe is happening now, but through technology, which is why I do not believe that AI is something that is seen as negative, because I do believe that we are possibly going back to how we were supposed to be. The original makeup of ourselves was probably more human and advanced technology integrated together. Some things are a little weird because, like I said, because we're going from what we know to what we don't know, but I believe maybe we're just going back to how we originally were supposed to be, which is why I am not afraid of AI. As an Aquarius sun, I love, seeing futuristic things and more convenient things. And I do believe it's used to our advantage. Now, do I believe that it could get out of hand? Yes, because we can see a lot of things getting out of hand. Um, but I don't believe that it is something to be afraid of, though. And then also, okay, he talked about how there is no such thing as a straight line in the universe, that, we create this idea of having a very linear mindset, especially with things like time. Um, but we look at things in a straight line, and he's like, there is no such thing as a straight line. So the basic concept of even having homes built in a straight line, in a straight way, that's not how our earth works. So that's why when things happen like earthquakes, tornadoes, and things like that, that the infrastructure collapses, because it's not supposed to be designed that way. And it would be more sustainable if we build things at a curve, at a dome, so that they don't topple over. But the reason why they're not doing that is because they cannot make more money if you create things that last a long time. We see it every single day with the products that we have. Very cheap. Look, y'all, look at my phone case. This is crazy. So this is supposed to, OtterBox, what are you doing? But I've had this for a while, but I was just like, I pulled out the pop socket and doesn't work. Do I believe that you can create something that can last a lot longer than just plastic? Yes. But if you create something that's long lasting, they're not going to buy it again. So this idea of building things that they know aren't going to last, again, very greedy of people. And if you want money or power, you can do it in other ways, okay? But keep things how they should be. And I do believe that we should make things like a dome because it just makes sense. And then lastly, I know there was a lot in that video. I'm not going to go into like the scientific stuff because I don't know what I would be talking about, but finding balance, and this is one of the most important things that I am trying to stress and trying to get out to people. Finding balance between your spiritual, esoteric self, your higher self, and then also your vices, the things that you like, your interests. It is okay, and what I feel is okay to do two, to do both. I have this side of me that I do feel is very spiritual, very like up here in the ether, but at the same time I live amongst people who are not where I'm at mentally. And you just have to experience the human experience with them. You have to just do things just to do them and be in the present. He was talking about one of the, I want to say he's like calls himself a philosopher. But the idea of people indulging in smoking cigarettes, people indulging in sex, people indulging in things that they just naturally gravitate toward. And there's an idea that people who are in the spiritual world have to portray themselves as like this perfect beings, and then whenever people see them doing regular things, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're doing that. One of my favorite astrologers to learn from is always on camera, smoking a cigar, drinking some scotch, and giving this knowledge, this wisdom, because he said this is how he feels like he can tap in, that he taps in once he gets to that state. And the same thing with me. I'm like, if I get high, I'll just start spilling secrets to the world. When my mind goes, the Aquarian mind, when it goes, it goes. It goes up there. So that is kind of something that I want to stress to people. You don't have to be this perfect being, that if you have the idea and the understanding of something higher than yourself, doesn't mean you have to just, be so, I'm a monk now. Now, some people do get like that and they say like that, and that's okay. But it's also okay to be you. Okay. So, anyways, y'all, there is a lot more that I could talk about, but like I said, it is okay to have multi-talents. It's okay to be a person of color and have knowledge beyond what the ordinary mind can think of. Okay. That's where it came from. That's where it originated from, I feel. But like I said, I do feel like we have to get out of our head that, everybody's just surface level, because everybody's not. Okay. And if you don't understand it, move on. Okay. You don't have to insert your 2 cents in there, and then try to convince people, because I do feel like if you're not there, then, you're not there. But if you're interested or have a curiosity, explore that. But you're not the end all be all of all truth. Okay. So when I say I don't know something, I'm going to tell you I don't know. But at this point, I honestly feel like I could tell you where mostly everything comes from. but that's a more of a private one-on-one kind of conversations I have with my clients. But I appreciate y'all for listening to my rants. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to throw in your 2 cents in here, just go ahead and do that, even though I said don't do it. But do it, y'all. And again, I appreciate y'all for supporting and listening and commenting and liking. It's very much appreciated, y'all. But anyways, I will see y'all soon on my next video, which I'll complete my rising sign video and maybe go on another rant. Okay, y'all, talk to y'all soon. Bye.